Okay, just a quick PSA before we get started and before anyone comes at me. This is only for people under the age of 18 in California. I do not know how your states or countries work, but after dealing with my permit, mostly alone without much parent help, and not seeing many videos specifically on California and how to do it, because there was one for Arizona and some other state, but not California. So I wanted to make one myself. And I am not a professional. I am just going through some tips and information and stuff that I did that got me my permit. And I have been driving for 3 weeks now. So let's get some basic information out of the window. Your written permit is the piece of documentation that you need to have to be able to start driving and preparing for your in-person driving test. It is a 46 question test for California that you need an 83% to pass, meaning you need to get at least 38 out of 46 questions answered correctly. You must be 15 and a half to take the test to get your permit, and you will only have 3 tries to take it until you need to retake driver's ed. So you may be wondering, what is this thing called driver's ed? Well, it's a godforsaken thing that you need to take before you can take your permit test. It's pretty much a few lessons that you need to go over, basic information on the actual, beforehand, before you're allowed to start driving, and you can start taking it once you hit 15. And for me, I used an online version instead of an in-person version, because the ones near me were like $400 for someone just to watch you. No thank you. I got my course online for $15 and it worked perfectly fine. It's just self-studying courses, and I used my California permit. It was $15 on Groupon, and I 10 out of 10 recommend that. Once you take this course, it will be 11 lessons, and each lesson will have a mini quiz. The lessons can go from 5 pages to 50 pages. Just remember that you have 6 months before 15 and a half if you really want to get your permit quickly. So you have 6 months to spread out these lessons accordingly. Anyways, once you finish the quizzes, you have to take a giant test at the end that's worth 60 to 66 questions, I believe. And once you complete that, you will get this little piece of paper in the mail in 1 to 2 weeks. Now that you have that small piece of paper proving that you have completed driver's ed, you want to fill out the DL44 form. What is this form, you're asking? Well, it's pretty much just to prove where you live in California, and if you live in California, it's asking who you are and other information you will see when you fill out the form. You can find this form at the DMV, or a preferred way to do it online. Type in dmv.ca.gov into your search bar. Once it is loaded, you want to click on the driver's license and ID cards tab. It will take you to a drop bar-ish thing and show the word permit. Click on that. Now you need to scroll down a little bit and click the applying for a provisional instruction permit under 18 years of age. Click on the complete a California driver's license for identification DL/ID card application. This is pretty much skipping 2 hours at the DMV as long as you have everything in person and printed. You will need to fill out the online form according to your information. I recommend doing this with a parent, as you might not have all the information you need on hand. And once you reach the end of filling the blanks, you will need to upload 3 photos of identification. For example, a passport to prove who you are, a bank record with your name and address listed, and a medical form with your name and address listed below. It doesn't have to be these exact documents, but these were the ones that were the easiest for me to find. In the actual Google form, or the form they use, they will give you options you can use for identification and online form. And once they're uploaded, depending on what time you submit the forms, you will be emailed by the DMV to prove if they are valid or not. So the DMV is opened only during a certain time, and that's usually when they check to see if it's allowed to have these forms or if the forms work. So I would do it during those time zones, depending on which DMV you go to. So if this instructional video is not thorough enough for you guys, there are going to be instructions on the actual DMV website, and it'll be showing step by step, but I know that starting can be really confusing, so that's why I wanted to make this little video. So once you have all that done, you can schedule a time and date for your visit or go early in the morning. I went during my first period class, and it was actually really good because there weren't as many students there or kids there trying to take their permit test, so it was actually pretty nice, and I didn't have to wait very long. It took like 5 minutes for me to be called up to fill out all my information or given all my information, so I recommend skipping your first period if your parents allow that. So that's pretty much it. Once you finish the Google form, it'll give you like this thing that you need to print out with a code, and it tells you everything you need to bring to the DMV, and make sure you bring every single thing, everything, because then you won't have to go home and get it back or anything like that. You'll have it on hand, and it'll be so much quicker, I promise you. Like, I see people waiting in this line of like 10 people while I just went straight into the express lane because I had everything finished. So 10 out of 10, recommend that. So now that I'm done explaining, that's pretty much it. Thank you for listening, and I will be making a video on how to prepare for your California permit test. You guys should go watch that.